Hi, I'm Tim Harkrider, Superintendent of Willis ISD, and thank you for joining us. We as a school district just wanted to get our information out of our November 2020 bond election. This has been a long process, and I'm going to give you a little historical context of how we're at our bond situation now for November. We started meeting with the long-term planning committee about a year ago. This was made up of about 40 people in our community. It was community members, parents from each campus, administrators, teachers, and really worked and identified the needs of our school district, wants and needs of what we felt like from their standpoint where we needed to go. And we met once a month until February, and at that February school board meeting, our committee presented their recommendations for a bond election for May of 2020. That particular election called for three propositions, Proposition A, B, and C. That was a $175 million bond package. About the middle of March is when we started going through our COVID-19 pandemic crisis, and at that point in time in late March, our board voted to postpone the May bond election for obvious reasons. A lot of stuff going on, kind of an economic crisis, really not a safe environment potentially to go vote, and so that particular election was postponed. The needs of our district, however, did not change. So in August of this last year at our school board meeting, our board called for a bond election for November of 2020. This particular election only called for Proposition A. The board decided as a group on a 7-0 vote that Propositions B and C would need to wait. And the thought process behind that was it wasn't the needs of B and C had went away. Proposition A was more of an immediate need, and it was also being able to be passed at no tax increase to our taxpayers from our tax rate standpoint. And we'll get into a lot more information, and so we'll jump into the presentation right now. Proposition A deals with facility updates throughout our school district, touches every single campus, I believe, except for Stubblefield. Elementary gym additions at our 4 elementary campuses that currently do not have a gym. An expansion to Lynn Middle School as our population is growing throughout our school district, including on our north side of town, and a new pre-K center to replace really an outdated facility in Row Arc that has served our district extremely well, but we really need a new place for our little ones to come to school and get them started on the right track. As we jump into the financial breakdown of Proposition A, we're going to kind of give you a big picture of what it looks like, and then our remaining slides will go through each particular campus and what is addressed throughout our school district. Our facility improvements will be a little bit north of $55 million. Parmley, Cannon, Metter, and Turner will be getting the gym additions. They're all 50 by 70 gyms. Lynn Middle School will be new classrooms that will include a science wing, so all of our science labs will be in that particular area, as well as additional classrooms. And then our new pre-K center, which will house about 400 pre-K students here hopefully in the near future. The total for Proposition A is $100,150,000. Now we're going to get into each particular campus, what is being done at each campus, and we just added some more information just from a historical context of how old our buildings are. So as we start with Cannon Elementary, it was built in 1999. We're looking at about $4.5 million of renovations there. An energy management system upgrade, and you will see that throughout on many campuses, and what that is really a computer generated software of how we control our HVAC system at our different campuses. Some interior renovations as well as some exterior improvements at $4.5 million. We jump next to C.C. Hardy Elementary. That was built in 1982. And there are several items on this, a little bit older of a building, more things we need to take care of. The total price tag for C.C. Hardy is $7.5 million. I will mention that 3 years ago we did a $7 million HVAC renovation at Hardy that replaced basically everything that was in the ceiling as far as water lines and everything to run our HVAC system. We did that over the course of one summer. And when you do renovations, sometimes if it's not exterior, you don't notice that this happened, but we did spend $7 million there, and you would never know it unless you get up into the ceiling tiles and see the work that was done. It was very much needed and created an entirely different climate inside of C.C. Hardy. And we jump to Metter Elementary. It was built in 2008, a little bit newer of a building, so not quite as many updates, but still some items that we need to take care of for $1.5 million. Parmley Elementary, A little bit older of a campus, 1987. We're a little bit north of $10.4 million for Parmley. We've got new fire alarm system upgrade, interior renovations, painting and flooring on the inside. We'll also need a full roof replacement as well as a water chill conversion for our HVAC system there at Parmley. Turner was built in 1993. We've got several items here, including restrooms that need to be renovated throughout that entire building. We have done that ourselves at some other campuses, C.C. Hardy, Parmley, and Lynn Lucas restrooms we've renovated as a district over the last few years. So Turner's up next, and we've got some interior renovations. Total cost there at Turner is $9.1 million. Now, as we shift to Brabham, Brabham was built in 2003, and you'll notice we only have a chiller replacement cost here at $1.5 million. Please remember back on our 2015 bond that was passed with no tax increase also, we added a 250 student expansion of classrooms to Brabham. We added a track to Brabham, and we also added tennis courts to Brabham. So really that 15 bond addressed a lot of our issues with Brabham, and now in our 2020 November bond we're only looking at $1.5 million. Lynn Lucas Middle School, one of our older campuses, was built in 1974 as a Willis High School at the particular time. We need a partial roof replacement there at 85%. That is partial because we've had some storm damage from, I believe it was Hurricane Harvey a few years ago on the southeast corner of that particular building that was replaced at that point in time from the damage from the hurricane. So this would take over the rest of the roof. That particular project is actually being taken care of right now. It was really a need that couldn't wait, and the board approved the district being reimbursed for those costs if our bond election does pass in November. We've got some chiller upgrades there, and as well as the current science labs that are inside the building will be renovated and converted back into classrooms. You've got to really take care of the drains and some other features for a science lab that will not be needed, and we've got to go ahead and make sure we take care of that correctly. Our auditorium and HVAC system will need to be changed out. Now we have 2 auditoriums in our school district with the new fine arts facility. So the auditorium at Lynn Lucas is still used on a regular basis by our middle schools, and so we make sure we take care of that. That is at $8.1 million. Willis High School was built in 1996. Just a roof replacement there and some demand control air handlers. All 39 units on top of the building will need to be replaced. That is at $12.6 million. And now we'll jump into our gym additions and kind of give you some context behind that. We're in the process of building right now elementary number 6. Your newer elementary schools that have been built within the last 8 to 10 years or so, they do come generally it's custom to build a gym. Many years ago you used the cafeteria space as a gym space, and as our campuses have grown and we have to schedule our PE and specials rotations away from lunch, so scheduling it becomes an issue, and really kids need a separate place in order to be able to enjoy gym and PE and do all the activities that we do during our PE courses. So this kind of gives you an idea of the location of where these particular gyms may go. We're vetting kind of the layout of this right now, but we feel pretty comfortable with where they are. Canon here, this is the east side of the building, and all of these would be connected to our school. They would not be standalone, so kids would not be walking outside to go inside. They would be connected to the existing building. And the total square footage, which would include restrooms, some office area, as well as storage areas, about 4,500 square feet. At Metter Elementary, this is the north side of the campus, kind of facing over towards the back playground, which is towards the Woodlands Hills development. And also you'll notice each one of our elementaries that we're talking about today have a current covered pavilion. Those areas would stay. We're not taking over the pavilions. We're not tearing them down. There are still a needed outdoor learning space that we will still utilize as well. So that kind of gives you an idea. Once again, the Metter gym would be connected to the existing structure. Parmley Elementary, this is on the southeast side of the campus. We currently have 2 portable buildings that kind of on that particular area that would be removed. In this particular gym, the connection would be through the cafeteria area there and give them some much needed space. Turner, we're still kind of figuring out. You'll see Turner here on the north side. You will see a purple gym area that really is becoming probably the area that we're going to utilize for their gym. You'll see a white area there by their pavilion that's got an arrow drawn to it. We looked at it there early on. That's really going to be really a congested area to try to get in and out, and do the construction piece could be an issue for PE classes when they go outside. So we're really kind of targeting that north area there in the purple. Really a lot less going on over there. We do have some detention area, but we think we can work around that. So right now our number one choice for Turner's gym location would be that purple area there at the top of the screen, which is the north part of the campus. And then we're looking at Lynn Lucas Middle School. We are going back and forth between a 1 or 2 story classroom addition along with the science lab. Really, in our mind, our current Hammond building, we may go ahead and take over that entire building and just do a 1-story rotation. It's a little cheaper to go that route as well. And also, we don't have any 2-story areas in the current at Lynn Lucas. We could keep everything 1 story, so that's kind of where we're going to try to make that particular process work. We're looking at about a 400 student addition that would include 4 science labs. Those labs would be shared by 2 classrooms, and then the rest of the space would be classroom space. And we're really kind of capping it at that number because cafeteria space in some other areas, there's really no way to expand, so this is going to kind of take Lynn Lucas Middle School really out to what we would consider the capacity. And once we get closer to the capacity at Lucas and obviously on Brabham, Middle School number 3 would be coming into the picture here within the next 3 years. Our pre-K center, we kind of got creative here to try to be financially responsible and not having to go out particularly and buy more land if we don't need to. If you'll notice here on the top right hand part of your screen, that is our Willis High School baseball field. Over to the bottom left of your screen, you see the tennis courts as well as C.C. Hardy. So we've got some land there. Over to the right of where you see the purple area, which would be the pre-K center, and the green area would be the playground, or our grass practice fields that our Lynn Lucas students currently use. So we would not take up those particular grasslands. Kids would still have an opportunity to practice there on their practice fields, but we also utilize, from our perspective, existing parking that the pre-K center could potentially use, as well as land that we currently own and it's really not being utilized on a daily basis. So that's the area that we're considering. The traffic location works out well. Currently where RoArc is located, we have traffic issues at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day with Parmley, because they're so close to each other. This particular area works well because our time schedules for elementary and middle schools are completely different. So as our middle school traffic empties out, about an hour later, pre-K center traffic would pick up, so we could keep traffic flowing and not have any congestion with Parmley or any congestion with C.C. Hardy. So we think this process for us works very well, and it utilizes land that the district currently owns. So the grand total of our bond is $100,150,000. And just kind of give you some historical thought process. Anytime you go out for a bond election, taxes become a big topic of conversation. To kind of give you some historical significance, from 2008 to 2012, our tax rate was $1.37. 2013 to 2019, our tax rate was $1.39. The last couple years with House Bill 3, our tax rate has been compressed. And what that basically means is it had to shrink and it had to become lower because of House Bill 3 and legislative responsibilities there. So in 1920, our tax rate was dropped 12 cents to $1.27. In this current year, our board has adopted a tax rate of $1.2171. So over the last 2 years, our tax rate has dropped 17 cents. The exciting part about our bond election for 2020 here in November, this would be no tax rate increase to our taxpayers. A lot of times taxpayers, some misinformation gets out there of, well, I may or may not be paying more taxes because my values went up. School district has nothing to do with values. All we do is set our tax rate. Our values in Montgomery County have continued to rise. I've lived here 8 years. I think we've had double-digit property value increases since then, which unfortunately will result in a higher tax bill unless your tax rate drops enough where it doesn't affect that. From that standpoint, it's a win-win situation, in my opinion. If your property values are increasing, you're living in an area that folks want to come to and want to live in, so we've been blessed by that. So I'm very pleased with the fact that we've been able to drop our tax rate 17 cents over the last 2 years. We're still able to provide all the educational opportunities for our students, and we come to you now with a November bond election, a little over $100 million that would not be a tax rate increase to our taxpayers. So please refer back to this video at any point in time. If you hear information out there, we'll be sending a lot more information out as a school district. We're here to support you, answer any questions that we can. We will probably try to do some live from a social media standpoint, whether that's Facebook Live or YouTube Live video here a little bit later. Other than that, we're just trying to get information out to you. There'll be some mailers coming out, and our job is to provide you with the facts of our bond election. If you got any questions, concerns, please let us know. We'll be more happy to answer those for you. And hope you enjoyed the presentation, and go Cats. Thank you.